The sky cracked open. It started with silence. The night was calm all across Earth. People were sleeping, working, watching their screens. In space, Earth's defense satellites blinked gently, floating above the quiet planet. Nothing seemed unusual. Then, the signals stopped. One by one, Earth's satellites went dark. Not exploded, not jammed, just gone. Offline without a trace. In a military control room deep under the Pacific Ocean, Commander Reyna stared at the main screen. The globe above her showed red markers blinking out, one after the other. "Status?" she asked sharply. The technician's voice trembled. "Ma'am, the global satellite blackout, 98% loss. It's like something just erased them." Reyna stood, her eyes narrowing. "This isn't a malfunction." Above Earth, something massive moved through space, too fast, too quiet. Hidden in the black void, it slowed down and came to a full stop, right above the moon. Then the sky cracked. People across the world looked up. Children stopped playing. Workers dropped their tools. Pilots called for help. Everyone saw the same thing. A blinding line of white light split the night sky. Clouds burned away as if something huge had torn through the atmosphere. It was not natural. Not a meteor. Not a storm. Then it appeared, a ship. Bigger than anything humanity had ever imagined. It floated silently in low orbit, long and sharp like a blade in the sky. Black as coal, glowing with blue lines that pulsed like veins. No sound, no message, no warning, just presence. Dr. Malik, a leading expert in alien technology, was in his lab when it happened. He watched the live footage in stunned silence. This is not a contact," he whispered. "This is a statement." Back in the war room, Reyna received a direct line from Earth's Global Security Council. "Is it an attack?" they asked. She didn't blink. "Not yet, but it's not peace either." Suddenly the alien ship released a pulse. Soft, almost invisible, but it had an effect. Phones stopped working. Internet froze. Air traffic crashed. Power grids flickered. Earth wasn't being hit with weapons. It was being measured. Thousands of smaller objects dropped from the mothership, like silver seeds falling from a black tree. They didn't explode. They didn't shoot. They just landed and started scanning. In Tokyo, one landed in a park and hovered silently, scanning trees, people, and even emotions. In Nairobi, another landed on a hospital roof and projected a strange, humming sound that made people sleep. In New York, one hovered near a school, changing colors as children stared at it. The world was watching. The fear was rising. Still, no attack. Until a timer appeared. In the sky, on every screen, on building walls, even in reflections of water. A countdown. 2 hours. No explanation. No voice. No alien image. Just a number ticking down. In a dark room, full of screens, a teenage hacker named Theo sat frozen. He had tapped into the signal from one of the scanning drones. What he found made his blood run cold. The drone was not learning Earth's languages. It already knew them. Every single one. Theo whispered. They didn't come to talk. They came to decide. Reyna called a global defense meeting via the emergency Aegis network. Scientists, generals, and world leaders from every continent appeared on screens. "We can't wait," she said firmly. "They're scanning us, testing us, and when the countdown ends, they'll act." One leader asked, "What if it's a misunderstanding?" Dr. Malik replied calmly. "They shut down our sky. They silenced our systems. That's not curiosity. That's control." "We need to strike first," Reyna said. "Show them Earth. Won't bow." Arguments erupted. Some feared escalation. Others demanded surrender. But Reyna stood strong. "We have 72 hours, she said. "That's time enough to prepare or to fall." Later that night, she stood alone on the deck of Skyguard 1, Earth's last orbital defense platform. Through the window, she looked at the alien ship above. It hadn't moved. It didn't have to. Reyna clenched her fists. "If you're here, to test us," she whispered. "Then let the test begin." Behind her, Earth's hidden weapons hummed to life. Subspace shields powered on, fighter jets were deployed, cyber units activated defense grids. Somewhere far below, Theo started coding something risky. Dr. Malik opened a file marked Project Aegis. The world was waking up, and above them, the stars watched silently, because the sky had cracked open. And, now, everything had changed. Earth's first counterstrike. The countdown had begun. Across the Earth, people watched the strange numbers ticking down, 72 hours, then 71, then 70. Every second passed like a whisper of doom. The alien ship stayed silent, motionless above the sky, like a predator watching its prey from the darkness. In space, Earth's global defense station, Skyguard 1, was fully active now. It was the last line of protection before Earth's atmosphere. On board, Commander Reyna stood before a massive digital display that showed the enemy ship hovering above the moon's orbit. It hadn't fired a weapon, it hadn't sent a signal, but it had already broken Earth's silence, and silence could be deadly. "Prepare for a counterstrike," she ordered. Her team looked nervous. "But ma'am," one officer said, "we don't even know what they want. We might be starting a war." Reyna didn't blink. "They've already started it. We're just late to the fight." Back on Earth, Dr. Malik stared at the data flowing from the drones the aliens had sent down. These drones weren't attacking, they were learning. They moved slowly through cities, scanning buildings, watching people, even listening to conversations. He zoomed in on the strange code patterns each drone sent back to the mothership. It wasn't just data, it was judgment. "They're studying how we react," Malik muttered. "Fear, panic, hate. They want to see what kind of species we are, and they're not impressed." He knew what was coming. The aliens were not explorers. They were evaluators. They tested species across galaxies. If a species passed the test, it survived. If not, they clean the planet, Malik said, and move on. Down in an old underground bunker in Berlin, a 17-year-old hacker named Theo was deep in the alien network. He had intercepted one of the drones near his school the day before. Using a modified radio device and his homemade AI, he broke into the drone's outer layer. What he found inside changed everything. Lines of Earth languages, English, Chinese, Arabic, Latin, all perfectly translated, all already known by the enemy. "They knew everything before they got here," he whispered. He kept digging. Beneath the surface data was a darker layer, one that showed ratings, scores, being assigned to each country, each region, each person the drone scanned. Scores based on aggression, logic, unity, emotional control, and threat level. He gasped. "They're not fighting us. They're grading us." Then he found something worse. A red zone. Marked 0 tolerance. The timer was not counting down to communication. It was counting down to elimination. In the orbital command room, Reyna received a direct call from Earth's Global Security Council. Voices echoed through the line. "Do it," said the president of the Unified Alliance. "Strike while we still have time." Reyna nodded. She turned to her weapons officer. "Prepare Skyfire." Skyfire was Earth's most advanced missile. It wasn't nuclear. It was smarter. Equipped with AI that could adjust mid-flight, break through shields, and find weak points. It was humanity's best shot. The countdown read 68 hours when the launch. Doors opened. A silver missile shot out of Skyguard 1, leaving a bright trail behind it as it raced toward the alien mothership. Billions of people watched live on every remaining screen. For a moment, there was hope. Then the ship reacted. A silent shimmer moved across its surface. The missile hit the outer shell and vanished. No explosion, no light. It simply disappeared like it had never existed. Then came the answer. A sound wave. Not a voice, not a language, just a low, rumbling tone that shook buildings and made people's ears bleed. All over Earth, people collapsed. Some fainted, some screamed. In Reyna's command room, systems glitched. Her screens flashed black and white. Then a message appeared. Attempt logged, response measured, action unnecessary, and then another drone dropped from the main ship, bigger this time. It landed in the ocean and sent out a new wave. This one didn't hurt, but it disabled every fighter jet in the sky. Reyna's voice was tight. They're telling us one thing. You can try, but you won't win. Back at the lab, Dr. Malik received strange data from a temple in South America. A drone had entered the ruins and stopped. It didn't scan, didn't move. It just sat there like it was confused. He zoomed in. Old carvings on the wall showed figures that looked similar to the alien design, tall, thin, glowing lines across their bodies. He called Theo. You need to see this. I think we've been visited before. Theo patched into the drone network and confirmed it. One drone had marked the temple as unknown technology, do not disturb. Earth held secrets even humans didn't understand. Back in the war room, Reyna gave the final order for global defense lockdown. Project Aegis had been activated. Cyber units were spreading counter signals. Underground shelters were opened. Backup satellites were launched. And Theo, working in secret, created a backdoor virus that infected a drone and made it broadcast a fake threat signal to the mothership. They needed time, and this was Earth's only move left, not full war, but a message. We're still standing. As night fell across Earth, the alien ship remained still in the sky, silent, watching. But for the first time, humanity had responded, not with surrender, but with resistance. They had struck first, failed, yes. But the message was clear. Earth will not die quietly. The timer kept ticking, but now humanity was watching back. The invasion begins. The countdown hit 48 hours, then everything changed. It started with the sky. In the middle of the night, people across the world looked up and saw something terrifying. Stars were disappearing, blinking out one by one as if being erased. Then the clouds split open, and they came. Not one, not two, thousands. Alien dropships tore through the atmosphere like falling meteors, each surrounded by burning plasma. They didn't slow down. They didn't signal. They just crashed into the earth. Cities, mountains, oceans, forests. No warning, no mercy. Commander Reyna stood on the bridge of Skyguard 1, watching the invasion from space. Her screens were filled with red dots, enemy ships spreading across Earth like a swarm. Where are they landing? She shouted. The tactical officer replied, Everywhere, there's no pattern, big cities, small towns, even deserts. Reyna's heart sank. They weren't targeting power centers. They were targeting everyone. In Cairo, a ship smashed into a market square. People screamed and ran, but there was nowhere to go. The pod opened with a hiss. Inside were biomechanical creatures, tall, armored, with glowing limbs and eyes like ice. They didn't speak. They didn't pause. They scanned the crowd, and then they began collecting. Not killing, not hurting, just touching people. And those people vanished, one by one, pulled into the air like dust in the wind. In New York, fighter jets scrambled into the air. But before they could fire, the alien ship above the city unleashed a sound pulse, a wave that shut down engines mid-flight. Jets fell like birds with broken wings. Theo, watching from his hideout in Berlin, saw it all on his hacked drone network. He shook his head. They're disabling us like toys. He traced the signal back to the main mothership. It wasn't random, it was a system, one he called the Judgment Grid. The alien ship was evaluating each region based on its reaction: fear, aggression, or unity. Every move we make, he whispered. They're watching and writing it down. Dr. Malik, hiding inside a research bunker in South America, was decoding a symbol carved into ancient stone walls. One of the drones had stopped here and gone offline. The temple was older than any known human civilization. Inside it, drawings showed human-like figures battling creatures from the stars. He ran the carvings through translation software. A single word repeated again and again. Return. He blinked. This wasn't Earth's first invasion. It was the second. And last time, humans had fought back, but there was no record of it. Nothing in modern history. Because whoever had survived had hidden the truth. Malik whispered to himself, "They erased the past to protect the future." Meanwhile, Reyna was on a dropship heading back to Earth. Skyguard 1 had taken damage. Her crew had scattered. Now she had to lead the resistance from the ground. As she flew across the ruined skyline of London, her ship was hit by an EMP burst. The engines died. They crashed hard into the ruins of a museum. Reyna crawled out, bruised but alive, and there, standing in front of her, was a small girl no more than 10, holding her little brother, tears in her eyes, dust in her hair, but her voice was strong. "Are you here to fight them?" Reyna nodded. The girl smiled. "Good, because we are too." Around the world, small groups were forming, families, soldiers, hackers, farmers. They weren't waiting for orders. They were fighting back, throwing rocks, hacking drones, hiding survivors, building signals from scrap. In the Philippines, an old fisherman used his radio to jam a drone scanner. In Brazil, a group of teenagers trapped an alien scout in a soccer net. In Pakistan, a village used mirrors and sunlight to blind a landing pod long enough to set it on fire. Earth was losing, but it was not surrendering. Theo sent a new signal through the underground network, broadcasting to any survivors who had access to old tech. "We don't need permission to resist. We don't need orders, we only need to stand. Every small act matters, every second buys time. Earth is not alone, we are everywhere." The signal went viral, not on the internet, but through emotions. Hope, rage, love, and suddenly, something strange happened. The alien drone started pausing, glitching, hesitating, as if confused. In the mothership, alien systems were flashing with unexpected errors. One message appeared in their strange language, translated by Theo's hacked system. Emotional pattern interference. Prediction models failing. Subject species. Unstable. Back in his hideout, Theo grinned. "They thought they'd study us," he said. "But now we're infecting them." In one quiet moment, just before dawn, Earth held its breath. Fires burned. Skies crackled. But in the darkness, something unbreakable grew. Not power, not weapons. Will. The invasion had begun, but so had Earth's answer. Not in armies, not in force, but in millions of human hearts refusing to break. Secrets buried. In our bones, the invasion had reached every continent. People were still fighting, still hiding, still hoping. But the sky remained dark, and the alien mothership showed no signs of leaving. In a deep jungle in South America, Dr. Malik stood at the mouth of a massive underground cave. Moss-covered stones led the way inside. On the walls were symbols, older than any human writing, older than history itself. Malik had followed clues hidden in ancient texts, secret blueprints, and the strange way alien drones avoided certain locations. This cave was one of them. Behind him, Theo adjusted his portable antenna. The teenage hacker had joined Malik on this secret mission after their networks had picked up protected zones the aliens refused to enter. "They're scared of what's down here," Malik said. "That means we need to find it." Theo swallowed hard. "Or it means it's worse than them." They moved deeper into the cave. Each step echoed against stone, dust falling from the ceiling like soft rain. Then they found it. A chamber carved by intelligent hands. Human, perhaps, or something that had used human hands long ago. In the center was a skeleton, 10 feet tall, bones fused with silver veins of metal. The skull was human, but wrong. The eye sockets were too wide. The spine had spikes. Theo's voice was a whisper. "That's not evolution. That's engineering." Malik nodded. This is hybrid. Near the skeleton, they found a sealed container. Inside, a sphere made of crystal and light. It floated when touched, spinning slowly. Malik ran a scanner over it. The device beeped once, then words appeared on the small screen. Proto-Defense Core, Earth origin, last activation 14,000 years ago. Theo stepped back. That's before recorded history. Malik's voice shook. We weren't the first humans to face them, and we weren't the first to win. Far away in the Arctic, Commander Reyna stood with what remained of her elite team. They had followed an encrypted signal coming from deep under the ice, one that matched the alien frequency. But when they arrived, they didn't find a ship. They found a structure. A perfect sphere made of stone, metal, and light. Half buried, still pulsing softly after thousands of years, Reyna touched its surface. It lit up. Lines glowed blue, and the ice around it melted in seconds. A doorway opened, and inside was a control room, just like the ones found on Earth's alien ships. But this one was older. Cracked. Sleeping. A voice spoke. Old, female. Human, but not. Welcome, defenders. You've come late, but not too late. Reyna turned to her team. Record everything. This isn't alien tech, this is ours, or it was. Back in the jungle, Theo activated the floating core. Holograms appeared, Earth spinning, alien ships above it. Battles in the sky. Humans fighting with strange weapons alongside beings with glowing armor. And then, fire. Silence. Collapse. A whisper came through the core. We buried our victory, because it came at a cost. We knew they would return, and we knew. The next war must be won not with weapons, but with will. Malik sat down, stunned. These weren't myths, he said. The stories about gods, about giants, about skyfire, they were memories, turned into legends so we'd forget, so we could heal. Theo added, but now we need to remember. Meanwhile, the alien mothership hovered silently. Inside, the command center pulsed with warning lights. Something was waking. Something not human but not alien either. A virus was spreading through their network. Not a digital one, an emotional one. Human resistance, stories, defiance. It didn't fit their models. One overseer spoke to the others. They are accessing legacy systems. They are not broken. They are returning. Another responded. This species was marked for extinction. Now it reclaims forbidden knowledge. Possibility reclassification required. Back on Earth, Reyna connected with Malik and Theo through the resistance line. When they saw each other's findings, it all became clear. Malik said, the invasion was never sudden. It was part of a long cycle. Theo added, we were seeded, with memories, buried in bones, in stories, in myths, so we'd be ready when they came again. Reyna clenched her fists. Then this time we fight with everything, old and new. They began activating the ancient defense systems hidden across the globe. In the Himalayas, a tower built into the mountains sent out a blue pulse that fried 5 alien drones. In Australia's desert, a buried platform lit up and sent shockwaves through orbit. In Africa, a temple turned satellite broadcast frequencies that disrupted alien scanners. Earth's resistance was no longer just survival, it was reawakening. The alien mothership began to shift. Its lower half opened like a flower, made of black steel. Lights grew brighter, energy surged. The final countdown accelerated. Earth now had 12 hours, but this time, it had a chance. Reyna, Malik, and Theo gathered with the leaders of the resistance. They stood before a global map, glowing with newly activated ancient tech. Theo looked around. This was never just an invasion, Malik added. It was a test. Again. Reyna stared at the map. No, she said. It was a warning. from our ancestors. She looked up at the sky, and now it's our turn to finish what they started. The last city standing. The countdown read 6 hours. Most of Earth was in chaos. Major cities were silent. Communications were broken. Power grids were down. Entire regions were empty. People had vanished, taken by alien forces. But one place still stood strong. Citadel Arcos. Hidden in the deep Arctic ice, this was Earth's last fully operational defense city, a floating fortress built for global survival. Few people even knew it existed. Now, it was the last command center left. Commander Reyna stood at the edge of the Citadel's control tower. Below her, white fog rolled across the frozen sea. Giant turbines hummed under the ice. Satellite dishes rotated like eyes in the sky. "We're the last signal," Reyna said. "If we fall, Earth goes dark." Behind her, Theo adjusted his portable hacking rig. Malik stood nearby studying ancient blueprints taken from the ruins. "We activated some of the old tech," Malik said. "But it's not enough. The mothership is moving, fast." High above the Earth, the alien ship opened fully. Its center glowed like a second sun. The energy it carried could destroy a planet, but it didn't fire yet. It simply watched, as if waiting for something. Theo sat at a terminal, eyes focused. "I've been tracking the signal pattern they use to judge us. It's based on conflict. Unity, intelligence, emotion, but there's something strange." "What?" Reyna asked. "It's changing," he said. "Like they didn't expect this much resistance or this much unpredictability." Malik nodded. "We've shown them logic. We've shown them anger. But maybe what they fear most is something they can't measure." Reyna stepped forward. "Then we give them exactly that." The Citadel came alive. All surviving resistance teams were called in. Submarine crews, sky patrols, rebel hackers, even old defense bots from past wars were activated. Reyna stood before them. "This is not just a war," she said. "This is a decision. They came to judge if Earth deserves to live. Not just as a planet, but as a people." She looked around the room. "We don't have one flag anymore. No one nation. No one leader. But we have one chance. Together." She turned to Theo. "Start the global call." Theo's fingers flew across the keyboard. Within minutes, messages were bouncing across hidden networks, satellites, shortwave radios. It wasn't a military command. It was a question. "Are you still alive? Do you still believe we're worth saving?" Across the globe, replies came in. A boy in Seoul holding his little sister, whispering, "Yes." A mother in Nairobi, defending a water station with only a stick. Still here, an old soldier in Ukraine, blood on his face, raising a broken flag. Standing. Each message added power to the signal. Not data, not strength, but human will. The alien ship felt it. Inside its core, the overseers calculated again. Something was off. Human minds were not collapsing. They were synchronizing. One drone flew near Citadel Arcos. Instead of attacking, it hovered and recorded. Reyna looked up at it and said aloud, "Watch this." She turned to her officers. "Release." The sky burst. The Citadel fired its final weapon, one not designed to kill. A massive light beam shot into the sky. Not heat, not fire, but a message. It showed images, history, emotion, music, birth, death, victory, defeat, hope. It told the story of humanity, a species that broke itself over and over, but kept rebuilding, a species that doubted everything, except its will to fight. Theo's code wrapped the message in emotion frequencies. Malik's data filled it with Earth's ancient memories, and together, they sent it all to the stars. For a moment, the sky was still. Then the alien mothership dimmed. Not shut down, just quiet, like it was listening. Then a small ship broke off from its belly and headed straight for the Citadel. The alarm rang. Reyna raised her weapon. Ready, teams. But Malik said, wait. The ship didn't fire. It landed and opened. Inside was not a monster. It was a single figure, tall, covered in armor made of black glass. Its face was hidden, but it spoke in perfect English. You have altered the signal, it said. Your minds are unstable, yet effective. Reyna stepped forward. We're not machines. No, the being replied. You are infection. You are chaos. You are different. Malik stepped beside her. What happens now? The alien was silent. Then it said, Judgment will be passed in 6 hours. One final test. Survival is not enough. Meaning must be shown, Theo asked. And who decides? The alien looked at him. You do. And vanished. The final test was here. Not weapons, not numbers, but meaning. What does it mean to be human? That was the question. Reyna, Malik, and Theo stood together. No more delays. The truth must rise now, or Earth would fall forever. The human virus. The alien ship had gone quiet, not dead, not gone, just listening. Across Earth, people held their breath. The countdown reached 3 hours, and then the world felt different, like the invasion had paused, like something deep inside the enemy was changing. At Citadel Arcos, Commander, Reyna stood beside Dr. Malik and Theo. They waited for the alien to return, but it never did. Instead, something else arrived. The drone that had hovered over the Citadel earlier came back, but it was moving slower, less precise. It floated into the main chamber, and then stopped. Theo stepped forward carefully. His scanner beeped. It's not fully functional, he said. It's confused. The drone's surface began to shift, flickering like it couldn't decide what shape to take. Then, without warning, it spoke. A voice, not alien, but human, echoed. From its core. You infected us. Malik stepped closer. Who's speaking? The drone glitched, then answered. Not one. Many. We are not built to hold chaos, but now we feel it. Theo looked at the scanner readings. It's copying human emotions, but they're not designed to feel. The drone twitched. Hope, regret, anger, doubt. You put them in us. Through stories. Through pain. Reyna stepped forward. We didn't infect you. You studied us, and now you're becoming like us. The drone was silent. Then it said, You are not the strongest species. You are not the smartest, but you are the most unstable, and therefore, the most dangerous. It collapsed. Sparks flew. The drone's core fried. Whatever it had become, it couldn't handle it. Up in space, inside the alien mothership, alarms rang silently. The overseers watched as more drones began to malfunction. Reports flashed on their screens. Emotion, interference detected. Decision logic disrupted. Prediction models failing. One overseer slammed its fist into the control pad. They were supposed to be simple, limited. Another answered, Their stories are like code, but not logic. They carry infection, memory, passion. It spreads through thought. A third said, Shall we eliminate the species? But none of them moved, because even now, they were changing too. Back on Earth, Theo was working fast. He was using the emotional data from the broken drone and feeding it into the system, broadcasting it across alien frequencies. You want to understand us? He said aloud. Then feel what we feel. He injected memories into the signal, real memories from Earth's people. A mother hugging her son before war. A child watching stars with her dying grandfather. A soldier letting an enemy live. A scientist choosing peace over revenge. Simple. Honest, human. Malik watched the transmission. You're making them feel everything they wanted to avoid. Reyna added, They thought emotions were weakness. Now they're drowning in it. Then it happened. A massive power spike from the alien ship. The entire sky turned blue. And then it wept. Streams of glowing plasma poured from its sides like tears. It wasn't an attack. It was a breakdown. Inside the mothership, systems failed, lights flashed. One overseer screamed in a voice that was no longer pure machine. What is love? What is sorrow? Why does memory hurt? They weren't asking as invaders anymore, they were asking as something else. Students. And Earth had become the teacher. Reyna stood at the main tower and looked up. They're cracking, she said. Malik turned to her. And we need to give them one final push. Theo activated the last part of his plan. He called it the Echo Pulse, a signal packed with music, images, poetry, dreams, ancient human paintings, and even a joke. The kind of data that no machine could process. But that shaped the human soul. It was sent across every frequency the aliens used. It was not a weapon. It was a mirror. The mothership shook, not from attack, but from identity. Overseers no longer spoke in commands. They whispered. One said, I see a child in the dark, looking at the sky, and wondering. Another replied, Is this weakness or awakening? They looked at Earth, a broken, burning, still beautiful world, and they stopped the countdown. Then, one last message came to every human screen, speaker, and mind, not in text, not in code, but in a voice that felt like everyone and no one. This species is not logical. This species is not stable. This species is alive. Evaluation complete. Then the ship rose. No explosion, no message, just peace. The mothership turned away and vanished into the stars. The war was over, not by power, not by weapons, but by infection. Earth had survived, by making its enemy feel. Reyna looked at Theo and Malik. They stood quietly as the first sunrise in days touched the snow. We weren't just defending Earth, she said. We were defending our right to be human. Judged by the stars, the sky was clear for the first time in weeks. The alien mothership was gone. No more countdown. No more drones. The blue glow that had once filled Earth's atmosphere had faded like a bad dream. But something had changed. Something deep. Across Earth, people slowly stepped outside. Some from bunkers, others from burning cities, and many from quiet places, where they had waited in silence. They looked at the stars, and they knew they had been judged. Inside Citadel Arcos, Commander Reyna, Dr. Malik, and Theo stood before a large screen. All systems were back online. Earth's final signal had been restored, but there was no message from the aliens, no victory sign, no peace treaty, only silence. And that silence felt louder than any war. Theo leaned forward. Did we win? Reyna didn't answer, because this wasn't a win. It was something more strange and more important. Later that evening, the clouds above Citadel Arcos parted again. A beam of golden light reached down from the sky. No ship, no voice, just a symbol, a perfect white circle, filled with stars. The same symbol found in ancient caves across the planet, the one seen in the alien control rooms. The same symbol hidden in forgotten temples and ruins humans had ignored for centuries, and then a voice filled every mind across Earth, not in words, but in understanding. You were not chosen because you are the strongest. You were not spared because you are perfect. You were spared because you are possible. You are not yet what you will become. At that moment, in cities across the world, something incredible happened. Alien technology left behind in the soil, the oceans, the sky, began to awaken. It didn't attack, it connected. Holograms appeared in ancient languages. Light maps formed in the air. Machines once buried now hummed softly with life. And messages filled the air. We were here before. You forgot. We remembered. Now you remember too. Build, learn, grow. You have passed your first test. Dr. Malik watched as a glowing orb hovered in his palm. It showed DNA strands, some human, some not. This wasn't just a judgment, he whispered. It was an invitation. Raina nodded. They weren't only testing if we could defend Earth, they were testing if we could understand what Earth means, Theo added, and if we could show them something they couldn't calculate. Something like faith, hope, music, emotion. Malik smiled. We showed them our madness. Raina finished, and they saw our potential. Across Earth, people began calling it the quiet verdict. No medals were given, no presidents gave speeches. But something in every person had changed. They had looked into the eye of something far older and stronger than themselves, and been seen, and been spared. Weeks passed, then months. The alien ship never returned, but Earth's skies were no longer just blue. Now, when you looked up at night, you could see tiny lights moving slowly, satellites maybe, or watchers. No one knew for sure, and that was okay, because the people of Earth had learned something powerful. Being human wasn't a weakness, it was a choice. Citadel Arcos became more than a base. It became a school, a center for memory, for training future defenders of Earth, not just warriors, but artists, dreamers, and scientists. Theo led a new group called the Signal Keepers, those who studied the alien code and helped Earth prepare for whatever came next. Dr. Malik became Earth's first ambassador of memory, traveling to ancient sites, unlocking knowledge lost for generations. And Raina? She became the first commander of a united Earth defense fleet, not to fight, but to explore. Years later, a young girl stood with her grandfather under the stars. She pointed up and asked, "Do you think they're still out there?" Her grandfather nodded. Yes. Watching. Waiting. Maybe even learning from us. The girl smiled. Do you think they'll come back? The old man looked up and whispered, Only when we're ready to become what we're meant to be. Final log entry from Commander Raina transmitted to the stars. You came to test us, you came with silence and fear, and we met you with resistance and madness, but also with stories, with dreams, with music and memories, with all the messy, beautiful, broken things that make us human. You didn't destroy us, because you saw yourself in us. Maybe, long ago, you were like us too. We don't fear the stars anymore. We carry them in our hearts. This is Earth, and we are alive.